lot's happened in the last few months that has taken up a lot of brain space.
So if this recording goes out to the public, this is us trying to figure out what the hell these are going to be. We don't have a title yet, so hello, Untitled Podcast. I'm assuming that there will be an intro song on this one, or maybe there won't. Who knows? Oh, God. So, hello, hi, I'm Silver-Streak or Silver. Ellie, say hi.
Hi, I'm Ellie.
Yeah. Ellie and I have a shared love for all things Zelda. Legend of Zelda, the video game series, and I said, hey, Ellie, do you just want to talk about Zelda on one of the streams that she was doing? And she's like, yeah. And so I came up with an idea of, or at least the rough framing of an idea of, hey, what if we talk about every Zelda game, with one game per episode, where we try to talk about everything that we remember about that title, and then do our best to figure out where it exists on the greater Zelda timeline. And then once we're done, we compare it to the actual timeline and see how well we did.
I'm like nodding enthusiastically right now, yes.
Yeah, because like, Ellie, you and I think have a very shared love of like lore in games, especially in Zelda games.
Yeah.
And we both have very similar tastes in a lot of cases for Zelda games, but not always the same taste. I have played through these games a lot. Ellie, you've played through these games even more than I have, including on stream. So yeah, the hope is, if it makes sense anyway, I don't know the exact structure, but yeah, like one episode per game, unless we somehow churn out these things here. That might mean that an episode could be 15 minutes. That could mean that it's 30 minutes to do something like that. It depends on how deep we get into it. Mm-hmm. The idea on a per episode basis would be, hey, let's talk through as much of the events that are from that game. And then maybe like, maybe we also, if it makes sense, hey, is this game the first time X, Y, or Z person or group or whatever appeared?
Yes.
And then maybe we look up how accurate we are on that afterwards. I don't know how easy it'll be to look up those things without spoiling ourselves.
We could do like a tally for recurring characters, because I feel like that's kind of an integral part of the Zelda story in general. Is like there's always a princess, there's always a baddie, there's an incarnation of the goddess, there's always a bad guy, there's always a hero, you know.
How many times has the postman been there?
How many times does the hand come out of the toilet, you know, like yeah.
Yes. So that was the general idea, and then like we can compare. I'm trying to figure out a way to do it, but I think I have a way that we can easily order the games as we figure them out on like a board, and then that way we can move them as we go through more games, and so we feel like, okay, this is our final timeline.
I think it would be, because I've studied the timeline a fair bit. I feel like it would be fun to like find the connections more than order them ourselves, because since the official timeline was released, like in the Hyrule Historia, because again, I have all the books. I mean,
it was just changed again, but yes.
Yeah, there's only been like a couple more games, hasn't there, since then? So like, yeah, even though the Hyrule Historia came out, like
2011?
Yikes. I was going to say 10 years ago, closer to 15 years ago now.
Yeah, I might also be wrong. It's been a while. I mean, there was that, and then what is it, like creating a champion? That one is one that also changed things around.
Yeah, that's post Breath of the Wild, isn't it? So,
yep.
Yeah.
And Echoes of Wisdom also changes things around a little bit. So yeah, and again, it's none of this is like meant to be a super strong challenge. It's just a fun thing, and it's a way for you and I to get a chance to just hang out for a little bit and talk about the things that we both greatly enjoy. I don't have any intention of making this a video thing unless you want to. Like I don't have any concerns but like if it's supposed to be a relaxing thing, I don't want you to have to worry about lighting or going in if you care about makeup or any of that stuff. Like
I mean, I'm in my pajamas with all my hair scrunched up on top of my head right now.
Hell
with
yeah.
no makeup on. So comfy time.
Yeah, that's the best. I have both dogs laying asleep underneath my legs right now, so it's a good time. So like we don't have to do it as a video thing, and it makes it just easier from an editing perspective anyway.
Yeah.
Let me think here. So I should write these things down as I'm actually saying them. All right. So
you just don't get to see me waving my arms around, discussing things and like
yes,
being enthusiastic physically. So
people will not have to see my VTuber avatar scrunch its face as I try to remember something. Okay. So here's an interesting one. Release order or alphabetical?
Release.
Because alphabetical could really screw with our recollection in some cases.
Release order, okay? Because like otherwise it's just gonna like it'll be a mess.
Yeah, I mean yes, but that's also the interesting thing to make it a challenge, right? It's fine. All right, each episode, release order of the games. Our goal is to talk about what is the timeline of that game, or like what are the events of that game. That's not a sentence that I just wrote down, but I'll fix that later. I talk about what events are of that game. That's not a word. Yeah, first appearance of anything, like any character, thematic item.
Yeah. Even enemies to an extent as well, because there's like the enemies are kind of how the timelines are tied together, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question: first appearance, as in like in a game, or first appearance in the timeline?
Ooh.
Why not both?
Yeah, maybe both, because they're kind of like the first Zelda games they include a bunch of enemies and concepts and things that are like never seen again. So,
or at least not for a real long time.
Yeah.
Okay. So first appearance of any character, thematic item, enemies, both in the timeline and in a video game product. All right. We're going to, I think we should probably keep this to actual, like, Zelda. So, okay. Do we bring in Link's crossbow training? Do we bring in Hyrule Warriors?
So I feel like we should stick with the canon, and Hyrule Warriors is not canon as per Nintendo's, like.
Yeah. Like
I wish it was, but. Because it's alternate timeline stuff, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean, it's well, at first I thought it was them trying to explain how Tears of the Kingdom could even happen. But Tears of the Kingdom, we'll get into it. Save that for the episode. So there's a question. No, release order. Release order solves that question. Okay. All right. I was about to ask, do we do Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild before or after all the other games?
At the end, yeah.
Release order makes sense.
I think they're the most interesting as well in terms of what they bring. So.
Well, because it almost feels like Nintendo themselves have differing internal opinions on it. Whether they care, like, so they go for different phases of, well, we don't care about the timeline, but also we kind of care about the timeline. Okay. So first appearance of any characters or themes or enemies, items, anything. The first appearance of a thing that we care to talk about. Like
a thing of note, yeah.
Yes. We're not grading ourselves on this. Like it'll be interesting to see how close or accurate we are. Portable titles are fine. There's no concerns there. Like if I don't get to talk about Link's Awakening and the Oracle games, I'll be very sad. I'm going to put out a call and say that the Nintendo Watch version of Zelda 1 does not count. I think I still...
What do you mean?
Have you never seen that? Nintendo put out a series of watches.
in the Nintendo Zelda franchise.
Man, I think I might have... I might still have the wristband of the one that I had when I was very young.
Oh my god.
Just because it was a weird thing to buy, right?
Yeah.
I have the Zelda Game & Watch that I bought. That they put out like as an anniversary thing. That thing's rad. But it's just the games. Like that's the actual games.
Yeah.
Okay. So each episode of release order of games. Talk about what events are. This is gonna be helpful because I'm just gonna outright make a freaking structure for each episode. And just like let's fill out this section just so that I don't forget what the hell we're talking about. Do we talk about CDI games? We probably shouldn't talk about the CDI games. I think if we get through all the games, maybe we do an episode where we just talk about all the side stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
I think that sounds good. Like the CDI stuff is like notoriously...
It's weird. I I will say that they're not good games, but you can see what they were trying to do. And like, if they controlled better, they might have actually been good games.
Yeah.
There was a game released last year that was made by fans of those games like so much that they went and made their own. What was the name of that? Zelda game made by fans. Like, it was released to retail. It doesn't actually have Zelda. Like, it's their own world and everything like that. I'll have to look that up. I'll have to look that up. It reviewed really well, and apparently, like, hey, what if they made one of these that still had the same level of difficulty, but you were controlling with something that was meant as a video game controller and not as a DVD player remote? So yeah, okay. Well, I don't even know what I would say mainline, but let's just say side games are last episode. Because I'd also like to talk about Cadence of Hyrule, which is freaking amazing.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything that you would want to include in these that I'm not thinking about?
I don't know. I'm always a fan of like a fun fact trivia type thing.
I think that's kind of our entire episodes.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, so like maybe it's also interesting to, and we don't have to do this, but like maybe if we're not going to rank where they are on the timelines and try to release our own timeline, what if we put them as our own personal rankings for like where we view these as our favorite games of the series?
Oh God, sure. It's impossible to choose between my children, but sure.
Yes, I mean, and that's okay. Like, the thing is, like, it's just meant to be our list. And I'm going to say right now that we can have ties if we want in our own lists. Because I will go back and forth between Twilight Princess and other games any day of the week.
Yeah, same.
On what I feel like. Ranks on our lists. Okay. I think that fills an episode, unless there's something else that should be in there. All right. So that is what I had listed as segment 1. Decide what the heck the format is.
Cool.
Here comes what I think might be the harder part. What do we call that podcast? I mean, we can literally just make it Ellie and Silver talks about Zelda, but I don't know that that's going to make a lot of sense to a lot of folks other than us, which is also fine.
Yeah, I'm terrible at naming things. I don't know if I've told you this. I'm absolutely trash at naming things. So,
I mean, I can pull up. I got a list of every single Zelda game, and I started trying to figure out, does that key off things that make sense as podcast titles?
Yes.
Let me give you that link again.
I've got it. I've got the list.
Okay. I tried to figure out, just for you, a way to make Ripened Tingle's Balloon Trip of Love or Freshly Pinked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land into something that made sense. I got nothing.
But it's not the easiest.
No. I mean, there's two of us, right? So a lot of these things, like, hey, can we make them plural? Like, hey, the Adventures of Link. Make a lot instead of the Adventure of Link, the Adventures of Link. Links to the Past was ones I threw out there. Saying threw up makes it sound much worse. A Link Between Timelines is decent. Echoes of Time is not bad, in my opinion. Cadence of Hyrule means Timelines of Hyrule. That's not terrible. Tears of the Timeline, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. I am not good at naming. I have been trying to think and not got anywhere. So
I also thought of the 3 timelines with a question mark at the end, but unfortunately, I don't know how well that works if they're going to add another one.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about Triforce Heroes. You can do Triforce Timelines. Unfortunately, that then makes the abbreviation as TFT, which I think is also like an idle game.
I mean, yeah. Team Fight Tactics.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I honestly don't know. I may have to noodle on this. Maybe I'll put my community to it and like that might give us something. Nothing is like jumping out at me.
Yeah.
But I'm also bad at this, so.
Yeah, I try to name all of my stream series. I'm not good at it, but I do try to give them thematic names. Like I have creature comforts for video games that are about animals in some way. I have AI initiatives or anything that deals with sentient life, right? But like,
Yeah.
none of those are great. I need to name them something so the playlist makes sense when it's multiple games.
I like land on something that feels right. I think when you're doing it yourself, you'll always be like criticizing it and being like, does this make sense? And yeah, I think it needs to be something that is clearly Zelda,
Yes.
but that also ties in, maybe not even so much the timeline stuff, maybe even just like lore aspects, but yeah. I don't know. My brain is sleepy.
It's okay. Because if you're going to talk about lore aspects, then it could very easily be like a link between lore, or lore between worlds, lore to the past. Again, none of these are great. I'm just throwing out stuff there. So let me just write this down. We'll just say, all right, so that was segment 1. Segment 2, what the hell do we call this? Ellie gonna ask her chat community, and I'll do the same. I feel like I cursed myself because I only ever started titling my series when I first replayed through the Myst games.
Right.
And it came up with like clearing the Myst, MYST. And then I'm like, oh, I felt like I hit something. Everybody was really connected with that. Everybody really liked the title. Now I'm going to do this forever. And that was a bad decision. That's not a bad decision. It's a hard decision. So we can circle back around on that. This one, okay. So what I had written down for segment 3 is like, what do we use as the music? For those that are, if this does go out, for those that are listening, I am not a musician, so I'm not going to be making music, but I use a lot of royalty-free sites that you can go and purchase a license for whatever purchase, and there's some stuff out there that had like, hey, these sound kind of Zelda-y.
Yeah.
This is probably not going to play for the podcast. I don't know if there's a way to share this into the podcast audio, but let's see if this works. So the one I wanted to call out specifically, let's see here. Will this actually work? Let's find out. We are, oh wow. That was not intended.
I don't hear anything.
Yes, and you shouldn't. I'm going to see if this works. I doubt it's going to work, but we'll see.
Oh.
So maybe that shows up for you.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if this is going to record or not. We're going to find out. If this does get released and you all don't hear anything upcoming, don't worry about it. We'll explain. I'll throw it in the podcast notes or whatever. Throw this in here. Segment 3. I feel like picking the music was potentially the easiest of these. All right, that's great. And so, really, the last thing is, how often do you want to record? Like, are we doing once a month, twice a month?
I think when we have time.
Okay.
Also, I can
with
hear
that.
the music.
Yes, that's on my fault.
Okay.
My speakers were for some reason set very loud.
Okay. Just wanted to check.
That's fine.
Yeah, because as you've seen, sometimes I will be randomly very, very, very busy for like 6 weeks straight.
I mean, hey, that's great, honestly.
Yeah, I'm down to do, the episodes we said like somewhere between like 15 and 45 minutes, whatever, depending on, the Twilight Princess one's probably going to be a beefcake. But like...
we got a long way to go, Ellie, before we make it to Twilight Princess.
But like, I could do like once a week for shorter ones, or like if we know it's going to be like a bumper one, maybe it'll be like one weekend we'll sit down and do like an afternoon or whatever. And I don't know. I'm easy. It's just more like being flexible, which you have already very much been around my schedule. And because this full-time content creation is a nightmare. So yeah.
Look, part-time content creation is a nightmare. So full-time content creation is that times infinity.
Mm-hmm.
So That makes sense to me. I don't have any concerns with that.
Cool.
I would like, if possible, I would like us to at least try and get one a month.
Yeah, reasonable. We can make that work. And then if
it ends up needing to be delayed, that's fine. It's not a huge deal. The only reason I say that is if we don't at least aim for a goal, we might go. I can say this from previous podcasts I'm on. It could be like 6 months and then it just falls off the radar, which is also okay if that ends up being the case. But at least saying, hey, let's try and hit once a month. That makes it easier. Yeah. Also, if we do record once in a month, to say like, all right, we know that other stuff's coming up. We can wait until next month or anything like that.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Awesome. So if this episode does go up, hey, that does not include this episode. We'll probably try to record again at some point sooner than May, hopefully.
Yeah.
So then comes the one that I don't know. So the last thing that I had on here was a logo, for the actual podcast art. I am not an artist. I can go commission someone if we have an idea.
I'm an artist.
You are an artist. If you have an idea, it's great. So I was poking around because I could not sleep. And my initial thought was try to get it as legally distinct from a Triforce as possible, but also identified as a Triforce. So my thought was, I'm going to throw this in here.
Okay.
This is 4 billion hours this was 20 minutes in Affinity Designer. But hey, 2 pieces of a Triforce and an hourglass in the center and some sort of neon look or something like that to make it identifiable, but not legally a Triforce.
Yep.
But I also, I don't know. I don't know. You probably could do way better than anything on here.
I think that looks good so far. I can make that work. That is not, it's not a Triforce.
No, but you can still look at it and go, oh, that's probably
it's probably Zelda related,
For those that are listening, if this is going up, it is a triangle, an equilateral triangle, with another equilateral triangle in the center of it. And then inside of that, there are 2 small triangles that are on the lower corners where the Triforce would normally be. And there's white text in the center that says hourglass here, because I couldn't find an hourglass that would work. And it's a gradient. I thought, because we're talking about the timelines, and Link's outfit tends to go from green in the past, and then now he's currently always blue. Yep. And so it's a gradient from green to blue. It does not have to be that. If that makes sense and you want to take a crack at an hourglass, I can see what I can find. If there's something else on there, I can also try and finalize it. It's whatever you prefer.
Yeah, I think that works. I love that you were I don't know what to do for a logo, and then you're like, here's an almost complete logo.
Look, I used the triangle shape designer in the thing. I'm just going to make triangles until something looks okay. And it looks okay. Do you want to take a stab at it? Do you want to take... Okay,
yeah, awesome. I can do that.
Great. Yes. For those of you that don't know, Ellie's a great artist.
I almost choked on my coffee.
Sorry. Yes, so that's rad. That makes that a little bit easier. And then we will want to have that before we upload this anywhere. But I don't think we'll upload this anywhere until we've also got episode 1 in the can. Mm-hmm. And then we can just put this up there as an introduction and then say, hey, episode 1 will be XYZ date in the notes. I think that's everything.
That sounds like everything.
We need to get a title. That's really the only open thing. I need to get something that makes it easy for us, because I don't want to write notes. Makes it easy for us to, if we're going to build out our own personal, this is where this ranks for me. And what I will say is we should only rank the ones that we've actually talked about so far, right? Okay. Meaning after episode 1, the only thing that's going to literally be on our list is The Legend of Zelda. And that just makes it easier for us to move stuff up and down in the list as we talk through them.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I will also try and figure out a way for us to throw stuff on a timeline chart. Or maybe not a timeline chart. Maybe it'll just be a Trello that we can move things up and down. Whatever.
Oh, that sounds like a good plan.
I just don't want to have to manually write anything, is what I'm saying. Awesome. I mean, that's the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is at least an interesting enough conversation, assuming that I can edit it together from my nonsense, that we can put this up as an episode 0.
Yeah.
Is there anything on here that you feel like we shouldn't put up?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
That feels like a trick question.
I don't know. I have been a
Yeah, me too.
All right, well, this is where I'm going to be editing in music that is an outro, and you might hear me talking over it or whatnot, but other than that, I'm going to hit this stop recording button.